as we are going to have our journey, specifically kayo talaga yan, ano? Your journey in psychology, research in psychology 1, let us discuss important things. You know, now we have pandemic. We are still in a pandemic. And even if you have your vaccination, some of you might have the booster already, hindi pa rin natin maaalis yung idea na nasa crisis pa rin tayo. We are still in a midst of the pandemic. Wala pang gamot dun sa virus. Yet, we have to do our thing, our tasks, our responsibilities, our routines. And one of our tasks to do, especially that we are in the academy, you are students, is that we have to engage ourselves with research. The question is, how can we flourish our research capability, especially now that we have restrictions in terms of our actions, our movements. So for today, we'll discuss the current research situation. Let us see whether is it still applicable? Is it still essential for us to conduct research? Second, research adjustments. Since I've mentioned it's part of life, it's part of our routine, what we can do is to adjust. And then third, how can we motivate ourselves to have research? Especially you guys. I know third year, second semester, ang daming subjects, ang daming major subjects. And paano mo mamomotivate yung sarili mo na gawin yung mga yon? And sabay-sabay, at the same time, ang dami mong major subjects, meron ka pang thesis. How will you motivate yourself for research? So as college student, you're no longer comparable with senior high and elementary that you get information directly from your teachers. Sa college, hindi. You can have your learning from your experiences or even your own study, own investigation. These are the things that you have. You have your studies. You have to have research along with your studies. Ang dami kasing mga subjects ninyo, psychology, na part ay research na nabanggit nyo rin nga kanina. You have your XP, field method, psych stat, psych assessment, field psych, social psych. Those are research relative subjects. So, part ng pagiging kolehiyo ang research. Aside from that, you have different work tasks. Some of you might be working students. So, binabalance yung pag-aaral sa research. It's part of your routine. It's part of your life. You have your work. Yung sa iba, merong walang work, pero meron pa rin siyang mga work tasks sa bahay, sa pamilya niya. You have your personal life. Sabi ko nga kanina, Valentine's Day kahapon. So, some of you might have your thing, some wala, nag-aral, or kung ano man ang ginawa niyo. You have your family, you have your friends. So, your life doesn't just evolve on your education, your studies. These are the things that you might be busy with, especially at this point that you are third year already. But if you look at it, research is part of it. You cannot go away with research. If you want a degree from CVSU or from other universities that cater BS Psychology program, you need to know how to have research, how to come up with a research paper. The question is, ano ba yung pagkakaiba ng research sa thesis? Actually, when you talk about thesis, research siya, di ba? Research, kakamap ka sa research paper. Ang kaibahan lang, pag sinabi mo na siyang thesis, yung research, meaning it's a major requirement of your program. It's a major requirement of your degree. Kasi yung mga ginawa niyo sa mga subjects yun na iba, research yun. Tama. Pero, it's just part of your subject. Part lang siya ng XP, part siya ng psych stat, part siya ng field psych. Pero itong thesis, hindi siya part lamang ng research in psychology 1. Siya ay part ng buo mong program, ng buo mong degree. Kasi hindi ka magkakaroon ng degree, you cannot graduate without the thesis. Yes, it is research. You are going to conduct research.
but it's more of a major thing or requirement. Anyway, still, it's part of you, part of the college students. The question is it still possible to conduct research during pandemic? That's the question. Can I ask nga people from the class? Can I ask Shena? Do you think it's possible to conduct research during pandemic?
Good morning po, Doc.
Yes, or yes. Talagang walang pag-iisip at walang ibang isip. Talagang yes. You were able to do it, the other subjects. Siyempre, kailangan or kaya mo talagang mag-conduct ng research. Thank you, Shena. So the answer is really yes. Pwede. Kaya. It is possible. It is feasible. Though there are some restrictions sa movements, kung dati pupunta ka pa kung saang lugar, kukulitin mo yung mga participants mo ng face-to-face. Ngayon, online yung pagpapasagot, online yung pag-i-interview, merong mga modifications in terms of your collection and going about with your research. And according to Shibata, in 2020, if research, thesis making, thesis writing is already a challenge before the pandemic, now that we are experiencing a crisis, it becomes a challenge, more challenging for everyone, for the researchers. Kasi nga, may mga bagay na hindi mo na pwedeng gawin. Dati, you can really set high number of participants for you to have a very reliable data. Pwede pa rin naman ngayon, pero you have restrictions with you na kaya ko ba ng 1,000 participants ng iba't ibang rehiyon, given the thing na nag-iiba-iba, nag-shift, may alert level 1, 2, 3 na minsan hindi ako pwede mag-travel, kailangan vaccinated ako, kailangan ganito ako. Kung very complicated na yung process before the pandemic, when we talk about research, what more now? Dalawa na yung ine-experience mo. May pandemic, andyan pa rin si virus, may pinagdadaanan ang ikaw at ang bansa. At the same time, may research ka, which is also a very complicated task. So if you put them together, it's indeed a very challenging task or responsibility. However, even if it is a challenge, life is a continuous struggle. According to Viktor Frankl, life is a suffering, di ba? Habang nabubuhay daw, meron talaga mga obstacles, meron talaga mga problems. Even if we are in this kind of situation, we have to retain a regular routine. And it's part of our routine, you, let's say, students, your routine to study, to comply with the requirements, to get the degree, because you enrolled. Kayo nga, ang swerte. You have your scholarships, you have your financial assistance from LGUs or different people. You have to study. And part of the study is this one, research, the requirement. So you have to retain a regular routine. At the same time, you have to continuously look at the purpose of this routine, the purpose of research, the purpose of thesis writing, and of course, to give order to your day. It's very hard to have research papers or to conduct a paper ng magulo. Yung hindi mo alam kung anong gagawin mo. Naalala ko last semester, it's an example. Meron kayong mga concerns in terms of XP. XP is a research-related subject. Bakit nagkaganon? Siguro merong context yung magulo kasi siya. Merong conflict of interest, schedule, and thinking. Kaya hindi nyo maibigay yung 100% ninyo in terms of the research. Hindi kayo makapag-comply or hindi kayo makapag-work properly. So, it's part of the situation because wala namang perfect, di ba? Kung perfect lahat, edi ang saya. Pero hindi. But then, when you were able to resolve the issues, the conflict in schedule and all, you can have a good product and output. Yun yung gagawin dapat natin or gagawin ninyo dito sa thesis. You have to have your routine. At the same time, you know the purpose. Aside from it's a requirement for the degree, it's also one of our responsibilities as psych majors to contribute to the knowledge, to the body of knowledge. So how can we contribute something? How can we give something to the community through research? And then you have to make sure that your life is in order, you have the calmness, and you have the guts to, of course, come up with your thesis or your research. Now, let us also bear in mind that life goes on, whatever it is, we have to move forward. And it's the new normal. Actually, it has been 2 years, and this new normal is now called now normal. So, can you imagine, first year lang kayo dati, napasok pa kayo sa Gente Campus. Ngayon, online, nakikita tayo dito sa platform, sa Gmeet. Malapit na kayong gumraduate. Hindi ba naiisip, or naiisip nyo ba yun na, graduate na ako, galing, di ba? Nalagpasan mo na yung mga subjects, nalagpasan mo na yung mga requirements, yung mga obstacles, yung exam, etc. So, dumating yung pandemic, it has been 2 years, now normal na ito na yun. And what we can do is to move forward, to do the thesis, to do the research. And part of it is that we have to check the reality. Hindi naman pwedeng sasalang na lang tayo sa giyera, no? Sasalang na lang tayo sa laban. Siyempre, we have to look at topics. Sabi, para makapag-come up sa research, dapat maganda yung problem. Problem that can be solved, problem that requires really solution. But there are times that we think of a topic na hindi na pala applicable sa ngayon. Hindi magandang research yun. Kasi, halimbawa, ang research mo is about an earthquake, the effect of earthquake that happened long time ago. It will not be applicable now because people do not have, let's say, the idea or the present actions or responses to that earthquake that happened long time ago. So minsan, baka nung first year kayo, may naisip na kayong mga topics, ito gusto kong topic sa thesis ko. Pero dahil iba na yung situation ngayon, those research conceptualized may not be as relevant as it is now. So it is a challenge for you, reality check, since you are going to have your thesis. Ano ba yung topic na napapanahon? Ano ba yung topic ko na papanindigan ko hanggang dulo? Kasi sabi ni Doc Lu ay research 1, research 2. So kung ano yung mapapa-approve ko ngayon, yun pa rin yung dadalhin ko sa susunod. So ano yung topic na yun na people are interested with, at the same time ay the current situation that I can also relate. You have also to consider what people are thinking, how they are feeling, and they are doing at this point. Kasi very critical yun. Sa psychology, ang dami nating pwedeng topic na pagkuhanan. Kung gusto mo medyo clinical, edi mag-isip ka ng mga clinical-based na research, may kinalaman sa mga disorders, may kinalaman sa mga intervention programs. Kung gusto mo IO, this will involve employees, personnel, kapag naman social psych, yung mga current issues. Whatever it is, whatever the topic na maiisip mo, you have to consider people aspects, perspectives, thinking, feeling. Kasi yun yung pinag-aaralan natin. Aside sa yun yung pinag-aaralan natin, ay yun talaga yung kailangan natin tignan. Yun yung mga critical na aspect sa reality. Diba? Hindi mo naman pag-aaralan ang bagay na may sagot na. You will not study something that is already established. So, it's a challenge at this point in time for you to conceptualize what topic will I choose for my thesis. And is this critical? Something that people are thinking at the moment, feeling at the moment, something that is part of the reality at the moment. So you have your situation, the research. Since it is feasible, it is possible to conduct research at this point, you have to adjust. Kasi may mga adjustments talaga na kailangan gawin kasi nga, there are restrictions on your movements. And what are the things that you can do to adjust? First, modify your research plans. I suppose meron na kayong mga naiisip na topic. Kung dati, gusto ko pumunta ako sa ganito, pumunta ako sa ganito. Ngayon, baka hindi na yun feasible. So, how will you modify? Before, gusto ko qualitative research. Kaya lang, pupunta ako sa isang lugar, mag-a-adapt ako. Pandemic, di ko kakayanin. Wala pa naman akong vaccination card, let's say. So how will you go over about it? You modify your plans. Instead of having qualitative, you shift to quantitative. Kasi yun yung mas applicable for you, mas applicable sa ngayon. Okay? So you can modify research plans in order for you to adjust to the situation. Another, retain the value and reliability of the data collected. Even if you have some modifications on your research process, you have to ensure that you are ethically correct. You are considering the ethics in research. Of course, I know that you know the ethics, the ethical considerations that you have to look into. Kailangan ma-retain yun. Talagang magko-conduct ka. Talagang nag-conduct ka ng test of validity and reliability. So you have to retain the value. After all, research thesis is a scholarly work. So paano ka matatawag na scholar kung dinadaya mo yung data, dinadaya mo yung mga literatures, etc. So you have to stick with the ethics. May modifications ka sa plano mo, pero at the same time, iniisip mo pa rin kung paano mo ito gagawin ng tama pa rin at dapat. Third, be mindful of the target participants. Especially now, we are facing a crisis. Baka yung participants na target mo may pinagdadaan. Hindi makasagot. Hindi maka-accomplish ng form. You have to be sensitive. The most crucial ay to be sensitive of others. Kasi baka ikaw, you're adjusted already on the situation, yung ibang participants, hindi pa. And mahirap ngayon mag-conduct, lalo na kung online ang gagawin nyo. Google Form, ano mo ma-ensure na walang mga stress during nung pagsasagot. Hindi siya nagkaroon ng problem nung nagsagot siya nung questionnaire mo o nung survey mo. You have to be sensitive. You have to be mindful of the target participants. Next, assess participants' responses to surveys, interviews. Before the pandemic, paprint ako ng questionnaire, pamigay ko, sagutan mo. Yan, ganyan ang role. Ngayon, paano mo mai-ensure na yung sagot ng participants mo, yung talagang sagot niya, online sinagutan, hindi mo alam kung siya talaga yung nagsagot. Papasok pa rin yung ethics, di ba? Yung value of the scholarly work. It's part of the adjustment. Iisa-isahin mo talaga, very tasky. No? You will really check whether valid yung mga sagot. Baka naman hinulaan lang. Baka naman hindi talaga niya naintindihan. Though, it's part of the research process na kailangan you explain the content of the instrument to your participants. Ngayong pandemic, ngayong ganito yung setup, mas kailangan i-explain. Mas todo yung effort mo. Kasi hindi mo siya makakontain in a group. Pwedeng individual sila magsagot or what. And the participants' responses are very important. So you have to assess. Meron kang adjustment na gagawin kung dati, tatali mo lang yung sagot ng participants. Ngayon, hindi lang basta gano'n. Check mo pa isa-isa talaga kung ano ba itong sinagot nito? Tama ba? Naintindihan niya ba yung questionnaire ko and etc. So may adjustment ka din sa pagpili ng participants at kung nasagutan ba ng participants talaga yung questionnaire mo in a right way. Another, research is not just presented. Pwede rin yung i-publish. Ganda no, pag-type mo sa Google ng pangalan mo, lalabas yung paper mo. So if you are eyeing for publication, you have to look for operational journals. Kasi during the pandemic, may mga reference materials, may mga publishers na nagsara. Hindi na sila nag-produce ng mga materials. So, nagkakaroon tuloy ng question whether yung literature na ginagamit mo ay talaga bang scholar ang gumawa? Talaga bang true, correct, valid yung data? So kung ang purpose mo is to publish your work, kailangan at this point, tingin ka na no, ng mga publisher na pwede mong i-publish yung work mo. At the same time, you have to make sure na yung mga literature na isasama mo doon sa yung paper ay talagang credible, operational journals. Excuse me. Kahit na pandemic or kahit na meron tayong pinagdadaanan. So it's not just it's not just stored in the shelf yung paper mo. I'm challenging you also to publish it. Lalo na ngayon, it's part of the adjustment kasi we need literatures in order for us to come up with a good paper. Kung yung favorite mong pagbasahan ng journal ay nagsara, you have to find ways, you have to find an alternative. At the same time, hindi maganda na ang paper, ang thesis nasa shelf lang, nakakip lang sa library. You have to present it to people, especially those people who will benefit who will benefit from your paper or your thesis. So if your idea is to publish, you have to make sure yung mga references mo tama, credible, and then look for operational journals na pwede mong pag-publishan ng papel mo. Alam nyo, in this manner also, pag nakakita ka kasi ng publisher, pag nakakita ka ng mga journals, makikita mo rin ano ba yung trend? Ano ba yung hinahanap na topic ngayon? So magkakaroon ka rin ng idea o ano yung topic na maganda na gawin para sa grupo ninyo or para sa thesis mo. Okay, so we know the current situation, we have to adjust, and we have to continuously motivate ourselves, yourself, to conduct research. Nothing is impossible. Sabi nga kanina, is it possible to conduct research? Yes. So you have your adjustments. Accept it or not, you have to adjust kasi it's part of your routine. And to sustain the interest, to really have a good output, research output, you have to continuously motivate yourself. How can you motivate? Set and appreciate small daily research goals. So, practicein ninyo na everyday meron kang na-accomplish, meron kang maliit na nagagawa, na i-type ko siya sa Google Form, accomplishment na yun. Nakapagbasa ako ng article, 15 na article in a day, hindi okay na yun. Hindi ko kayang magbasa ngayon, nagsulat lang ako ng mga sites na pupuntahan ko, still, it's a goal. Kasi nga, we have to move we have to still go on with our routines. So, we can motivate ourselves by doing small goals or setting small goals, and at the same time, you appreciate, may natapos ako, may nagawa ako na may kinalaman sa paper ko. Another thing is carve out time in your day for research work and relaxation. So you should have a sense of balance. Ang hirap din naman na puros thesis. Sabi, in a relationship with thesis, in a relationship with research. Pero huwag niyo kakalimutan to relax. It's part kanina, di ba, yung sa college student, there are different parts, areas of life. Part din naman na mag-stop, mag-relax for a while kasi very tasking, very complicated na nga yung research, tas wala kang pahinga. Sabi kanina dito sa number 1, we have to set small daily research goals. Maganda yun, productive ka. Pero at the same time, okay din na may time ka to rest para makapag-refresh yung minds mo sa isusulat mo, sa ipe-present mo na data, doon sa iyong paper. Next, prioritize your mental health. We are psych majors. Sana wala akong mababalitaan na kaya na-depressed kasi may thesis. Kaya napapunta sa mental hospital kasi may thesis. Hindi kinaya, nag-breakdown. Huwag ganun. If you cannot do things, you are in a group. So, dapat mag-isip ka na ng ka-groupmate mo na dadaling ka sa tamang landas at ang mental health mo ay magiging intact kapag kayo ang magkakasama. Magtutulungan kayo. Kung ikaw ay stressed out na with the writings, with the thesis, edi stop for a while, prioritize your mental health, but you should know when to go back. Dapat ganun. You rest, you stop for a while, yet you have to bear in mind that this is not for long. This is just temporary. I will prioritize my mental health, but soon after that I regain myself, I will go back to my research job or research tasks. Next, be okay with being not highly productive. May mga times na hindi mo gusto mag-work, may mga times na wala kang ganang gumawa ng paper, okay lang. For as long as you're on the track. Minsan ay may deadline kasi na dapat i-meet. So, dapat kayo may planner, no? May nakasulat na, mamaya makikita mo yung mga schedule. Dapat pala week na to, dapat may ganito na ako, may ganito na ako. Okay lang naman maging high, hindi hindi productive. Basta, during the deadline, hindi maiipasa mo, magagawa mo. You can provide the necessary things that you have to submit. Pero do not be too hard on yourself na, wala akong natapos ngayon. It's just okay. There are times that you are really not productive. Be okay with not being highly productive. And also, I would like to share this ikigai concept, yung sa pagpili ninyo ng paper ninyo, pagpili ninyo ng topic ninyo. You think of, it's something that can motivate you din kasi. Your topic must be something that you love, something that you think the world needs. You can gain from it. At the same time, you're good at that. Kasi kapag yung ginawa mong paper or research ay something na hindi mo gusto, bigay lang ni advisor, bigay lang ni technical critic, how can you move forward? How can you do good kung hindi mo siya love, hindi mo siya need, hindi ka nagbe-benefit doon, or hindi ka good doon sa aspeto na yon. So it will be a challenge for you that you know that this is research, you have to adjust, you have to do something about it because it's part of your curriculum. You have to continuously motivate yourself. And one way to motivate is to ensure that what you are going to start is something that you really love and like, and at the same time, you can hold until the end, until the research in psychology 2 or the next phase. Okay? Kahit naman sa ibang bagay, sa ibang aspeto, paano mo mamamotivate yung sarili mo? You can look at this concept, yung passion, mission, vocation, profession. Dito iikot. Kasi kapag mahal mo yung isang bagay, i-continue mo kahit anong mangyari, kahit may problema. You think that it's a need, kahit nahihirapan ka, you will work on it. You vision that you will gain from it, itutuloy mo pa rin yun kahit na nahihirapan ka. At the same time, kung alam mo sa sarili mo that you're capable of doing that thing, of investigating that thing, kahit mahirap, you will continue this. You will continue that. Kasi yun yung something na kaya mo at alam mo magaling ka. So you can have this in mind for you to continuously motivate yourself to do research. And of course, keep going. No matter what, you are 3 in the group. Kung ang isa ay medyo depressed na, napapagod na, yung dalawa, edi work. Kung pare-pareho kayo, edi you do something that will get you out of the problem or the chaos. But you have to keep going because it's research. It's something that you must do and you should do. For the takeaway for today, accept that research is part of our daily routine. Kahit faculty, part yan ng daily routine namin kasi we cannot provide knowledge, we cannot provide information if it's not about research, if it's not coming from research. Nagre-research din kami to modify things, to give interventions. Kayong students, you really have to accept that fact that research is part of your life. Sacrifices and adjustments should be done for good work or for good research work during pandemic. So, it's possible to have thesis writing. Ang iba nga nagawa How about you? Di kaya nyo din. Continuously motivate self to do research. However, you should also consider your health without compromising your health. These now are the tasks that you have to perform. You have to upload the registration form in the Google Classroom for me to identify whether you are really enrolled in the class. Hopefully, you can have it by February 28. Lahat sana may reg form na. Then, today, you should have photo documentation of your interaction with me, course orientation. Ano ba nangyari ngayon? So, pwede na kayong picture-picture o picturean ko nga yung iba siguro sa inyo nag-picture ng mga finlash ko. Ayan, isasama nyo siya sa one-page photo documentation, course orientation. Mamaya, meron tayong group photo. Deadline nito is February 20. So that I'll know, umattend talaga sila. Nakinig sila sa akin. Then, task 3, form a group with 3 members. Ang deadline would be February 18, 2022. Bilis. This Friday, kailangan ko na ng groupings ninyo. Yung groupings na yon, you have to choose talagang siya yung makakasama mo hanggang dulo. Siya yung ka-team mo. Ka-team doon sa yung thesis. And then, on March 1, that would be on the 3rd week, you have to come up now with your topic proposal. Read literatures. You have to present 10 literatures and we'll have a title defense. Question, ilan pong title ang dapat naming ma-formulate topic? If I were you, better to have at least 3, more than 1. Kasi kapag hindi na-approve yung title mo, meron kang backup. Kasi hindi ka makaka-proceed with the chapters 1, 2, and 3 kung hindi approve yung topic mo, yung working title mo ay hindi approve. If you look at it, napakabilis ng facing. Mabilis talaga. Kasi 5 buwan lang ang pag-write ng chapters 1 to 3 and I'm afraid baka hindi nyo matapos. So as early as March 1, maganda, may topic na kayo. Meron na kayong working title. And then from there, I can assign already the advisor, the technical critic, who will help you out with your thesis writing. This is the link for the Google Classroom. Later, I will post it on our chat box. Meron pa rin tayong Google Classroom kasi meron tayong mga sets of activities that you need to accomplish. Yung mga announcements, lectures, or reference materials, I will post there. In this class also, like what I mentioned, we will not discuss much because dapat ay thesis yung output talaga. More of consultation yung ating subject. I will also encourage you to attend to various webinars na makakatulong sa inyo in terms of writing the proposal and the entire paper or thesis. Okay, that would be all. Thank you very much for listening. I will now open the floor for questions, clarifications regarding the things that we discussed for research in psychology 1. Any questions? Let me just navigate. Okay, stop presenting. Merong nakataas ang kamay. May question ba sila? Renny, Miss Kagia, and Miss Piloton, do you have questions? Ira, okay. Wala po term exam, objective type about research. Tapos na kayo doon. Ang kailangan kong output dito ay thesis talaga. Thesis proposal. So this is a subject, Sci 115, 3 units. Okay, so ayun ang schedule. I will go directly to this one, the course coverage. So ngayong week, we had the orientation. Ang inyong first OBA is the documentation. For today, what happened? Deadline would be next week, Feb 22, as per the presentation, right? If you noticed, week 2 to 3, ang bilis. Research title na tayo. So next week, we'll have a research title na kailangan nang mag-isip ng working title ninyo. And then on the 3rd week, you will have your title proposal defense. Deadline din ng topic form na binanggit ko kanina. That is March 1. Ang bilis, no? Kailangan magbasa na agad, kailangan makapag-formulate na agad, kailangan makapag-have na ng members doon sa iyong team, sa thesis team mo, thesis body mo. Okay. Pagdating ng 4th week, 7th week, yan, I'm expecting nagsusulat na kayo ng introduction. Okay? Probably we can have a refresher, ano ba yung content ng introduction, pero don't expect na mag-discuss tayo thoroughly at hindi yun ang context ng klase natin. No? And then, on the 7th week, you have to write. You have to have the write-up of introduction. 8 to 11, napansin ninyo, ang 10th week kasi, yun ang midterm. 9th week is the academic break. So, diniretso-diretso ko na siya. RRL dapat, on the 11th week, dapat meron ka ng chapter 2. Then, 12 to 15th week, chapter 3 naman. 15th week, dapat meron ka ng chapter 3. So, as early as the 15th week, meron ka ng proposal. Of course, kasama din dito yung references, kasi meron tayong review of related literature. 16th week, pahinga muna sa pagsusulat, we'll have a webinar wherein I will teach you how to present the paper. Though I know that you know how to present the paper orally, siguro yung poster hindi masyadong knowledgeable how to present in a poster way, Pero better din to in preparation for your oral defense on the 17th week. So you expect that before the final week, meron tayong thesis, proposal, oral defense. Meron kayong 3 panel of evaluators, and 2 lang ang papatakan mo ang decision dyan, whether you will proceed to the next level, in-accept nila yung paper mo, or reject. Pag reject ang saklap, kasi ibig sabihin, you cannot enroll research in psychology. So dapat as early as the earlier weeks, edi okay na yung paper. Work closely with me, with your advisor, and your technical critic. And then the final week, yung 18th week, revisions na yon, submission na ng thesis proposal. Let me clarify that you cannot enroll research in psychology 2 if you are not done with your revisions and submission of the proposal. Kasi nga, kasunod lang yung 2 hindi ka pa tapos, hindi pwede yun. Dapat tapos ka na ngayong semester dun sa para sa proposal mo. Requirements, look at it. So, write-ups, syempre, expected. You have your draft of chapters 1 to 3. May mga forms tayo, available, gagawin ko tong available sa inyong Google Classroom. Attendance to research webinars, I'm encouraging you to attend para lalong ma-enrich yung inyong mga knowledge and skills, competencies sa pagdating sa research. And then proposal, chapters 1 to 3 na revised na, dumaan na sa panel, dumaan na sa advisor and technical critic, printed and soft copy, and thesis proposal. Yan. So, the oral defense na ating isa pang major requirement dito sa klase. Okay? Walang numerical grade ang research in psychology 1. It's either BS, S, or US. Very satisfactory, satisfactory, and unsatisfactory. Pero bago ka makapunta doon sa susunod na phase, kailangan ang makuha mong grade, BS at S. Kasi pag binigyan kita ng US, you cannot enroll research in psychology 2. Uulit ng research in psychology 1. Hindi pa kami nakakapag-usap ni registrar kung paano pag US kasi mahuhuli talaga yon, hindi magiging irregular kasi uulit ka, grupo kayo or individual, grupo kayo na hindi makakapag-enroll doon sa psychology, research in psychology. Kahit wala siyang numerical grade, you have to work well kasi yung grade mo doon sa final, kasi para siyang staggered na subject, research in psychology 1, research in psychology 2, para siyang isang buong subject na pinag-chop-chop into semester. Yung grade mo na ma-accumulate sa research in psychology 1 ay malaki ang magiging epekto doon sa research in psychology 2. Parang inipon yung grade mo Ang binigay lang muna is mga SDS. Pagdating mo dun sa Research in Psychology 2, edi yung grade mo na nakuha dun sa Research in Psychology 1 ay kasama sa computation noong sa Research in Psychology 2. Okay? So, 3 units din ito na subject and course, and again, a major requirement for your degree. Kasi nga, this is thesis. Any concern or questions? Ang tahimik naman. Yung course syllabus ay nasa Google Classroom na. Ang Google Classroom, teka, kunin ko ang link for the Google Classroom. Make sure na ang gagamitin ninyong link for the Google Class pag nag-join kayo ay CBSU. Kasi pag hindi CBSU, I will kick you out doon sa Google Classroom. And then, ayan, you add yourself, makikita nyo na doon yung mga kailangan gawin, mga materials. Let me just share. Ito yung copy nyo. Ayan. So, makikita nyo na dito yung mga forms na kailangan. Wala pa lang yung thesis forms, hindi ko pa nalalagay. So, ayan. Andyan na yung syllabus. You have to upload the reg form. May deadline yan. Then, yung documentation ngayon, deadline next week, Tuesday. And then, yung topic proposal form. Kasi we have scheduled, we're eyeing for March 1 title defense. Yeah. The next time na mag-meet tayo at Google Meet ang gagamitin natin, same link tayo, ito yon, or you may press join dito sa ating Google Classroom. Kasi yan yung official na Google Meet link natin for Research in Psychology 1 for your section. Okay. Any more concerns? Stop presenting. Wala na? Sige, Joanna, you may stop the recording.